Day 5 of NFL free agency is rolling along, and you got Harrison Graham and Chase Sr. here on NFL Daily by Chat Sports. Getting ready to catch you guys up on the latest surrounding the Minnesota Vikings, who have been mostly quiet, but some minor moves and some rumors floating out there around this team. This is a significant one, though, Chase. Adam Thielen, there had been some trade buzz. Maybe they'd move on from him. He has agreed to a contract restructure. He will remain with the Vikings for this upcoming season, which I like because you bring in a guy like Kevin O'Connell, give him as much soldiers offensively as you can. Cousins is back. Adam Thielen, Jefferson, Dalvin Cook. There's no excuse for this to not be a top 10 offense in the 2022 season.
I agree. And for Minnesota, I think it all hinges on Kirk Cousins. How can Kirk Cousins get the Vikings past this threshold where they've really been an average or above average team? He has everything at his fingertips. He has the weapons on this team. He now has an offensive-minded head coach. The receiving core of Thielen to go along with Justin Jefferson and Dalvin Cook is spectacular. The offensive line, some questions there, but you addressed that last year in the NFL draft. The defense is very good as well. The Vikings and Kirk Cousins have to be better in late game situations. That's also what it comes down to. They lost so many games last year inside of 8 points, inside of one score. Couple of those games go a different way, and we're looking at a different football team. The pressure is on considering what Kirk Cousins is paid. There's no question about that.
Yeah, look, this is all going to hinge on Cousins, and, they've tied themselves to him for this year and next year now, so the next 2 seasons, but keeping a guy like Thielen helps Cousins play his best. Kevin O'Connell coming in as an offensive-minded head coach. You got to develop that relationship. I'm glad Thielen is back, dealt with some injuries last year.
Yeah.
Before last season, we were talking about Jefferson as Thielen is arguably the best duo in the league. I mean, those are 2 number 1 receivers when they're both healthy. And now with Davante Adams out of the division, who we'll get to in a second, could be 2 of the top receivers in the NFC North. Spam 19 to show some love to Adam Thielen if you're excited about him staying with Minnesota. I think it's a good move by the Vikings. I think it makes sense for Thielen as well. So type 19 down in the comments. I just alluded to it, Chase. Don't have to deal with Davante Adams anymore. The Vikings, the Bears, the Lions.
Every Vikings fan.
They are also they are all a sign of relief to see this guy exit to the Las Vegas Raiders.
Look, this guy has wreaked havoc inside of this division for so long, and him and Aaron Rodgers, that 1-2 punch, that combination at the quarterback wide receiver position, they've been 2 of the elite players at their respective positions for a really long time, and Vikings fans know all about that. So how does this impact Aaron Rodgers? I mean, he has been so trustworthy in Davante Adams over time, maybe to a fault. He tries to target him a little bit too much, just like what happened in the NFC Championship game, the divisional round against the San Francisco 49ers when he didn't trust anybody else to make a play, and he was forcing the ball to Davante Adams. Now, you take him out of that offense, where does Aaron Rodgers go now? Because who is the number 2 wide receiver on that team who elevates to number 1? Or is there another move to be made like an OBJ, a Jarvis Landry, a Julio Jones? But either way, for Vikings and this defense to not have to face Davante Adams any longer, it's great for the Vikings, and in doing so for Davante Adams, it's great for him because he gets paid on a historic deal, 5 years, $141+ million.
My God, he got the bag. I think I saw, is it the biggest contract for a non-quarterback ever? If it's not, it's one of them. It's up there for sure. It's highest paid receiver of all time, over $28 million per year. But for the Vikings, they don't have to deal with this guy anymore, and he was a problem in recent years, especially last year when Minnesota's corners did not play at a good enough level. So Vikings fans, what was your one-word reaction, or what is your one-word reaction to the Raiders trading away Davante Adams, or to the Raiders trading for Adams and the Packers trading away Adams? Give me your one-word reaction. How about whew?
Yeah.
Don't have to worry about it anymore.
Oh, my goodness.
Those beads of sweat have dried up all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I mean, that's our reaction. Let us know what yours is as well. Make sure you guys subscribe to Minnesota Vikings Now on YouTube. We're closing in on 3,000 subscribers on our Vikings channel. Producer Jack doing a great job helping grow it up. YouTube.com/Vikings today. And let's get more Vikings coverage here on YouTube. Okay, McKenzie Alexander, he will not be re-signing with the Vikings, as I think you're going to see a bit of a retooling in the secondary, Chase. Bashaud Breeland, that did not work out last year. Patrick Peterson was just okay. I don't expect him to return as well. Maybe he does. They cut Jeff Gladney after his He had some, I think, domestic assault charges, which later got dropped, and now the Cardinals have signed him. So you're going to be looking at a whole new secondary outside of maybe Cameron Dantzler.
Yeah, because Jeff Gladney, you lose him. He's the former first-round pick who ran into those domestic violence issues. So if there is a question for the Vikings so far and still in NFL free agency, it really is that secondary. Now, luckily for them, no longer have to go up against Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams as that aforementioned 1-2 punch. But they need to address that secondary spot because in a pass-happy NFL where there are a bunch of elite quarterbacks, especially on the Vikings schedule, you can't afford to get picked apart because I'm not sure how great that defensive line is either, which could open itself up to the secondary kind of being susceptible for some blown coverages.
Now, I mentioned I wouldn't necessarily see Patrick Peterson returning. He played okay last year, but if you're losing guys and if the CB market kind of dries up, then you could bring him back. He's a CB2 at this point in his career. Certainly getting older, wasn't what he was in his peak Cardinals days, but you at least kind of know what you have in Patrick Peterson. So name a player that the Vikings should sign. Let us know down in the comment section. Who would you like to see Minnesota bring in? Is there a name out there that you would like to see Minnesota sign?
Man, a Steven Nelson type. You can get him on like a 2-year, $7 million deal. I think you could look to those corners. I don't think they're going to go big fish hunting with a player like Stephon Gilmore, but they need to address that cornerback spot.
Yeah, absolutely. Michael Pierce, he is officially gone. He has signed with the Baltimore Ravens, 3 years, $16.5 million, 5.5 a year. Gets about 6.75 guaranteed. So they'll have to find a replacement on that defensive line. They signed Harrison Phillips as kind of a guy who can help fill that void, Chase. But Pierce gets a nice little payday with Baltimore.
Yeah, he does. And Michael Pierce, pretty solid player, and I think he's going to be able to add a lot to this football team. And I kind of like the deal just because it's a 3-year, $16.5 million deal, but really, all these NFL contracts come down to the guaranteed money. Yep. So if what you sign Pierce for at $16.5 million, if it doesn't work out for you, you can cut bait after a year or two, and it's only, a small cap hit and a small financial figure there. So I think he's going to be able to add a lot to this team.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens as he lands in Baltimore. Grade the Vikings move so far, A, B, C, D, or F, and predict what's going to happen next with Minnesota.